Nothing can stop me. I'm all the way up. All the way up. I'm all the way up. I'm all the way up.
Change the way you think, you change the way you feel, you change the way you act, you change what you get. You know, 7 years later, I walk out of the penitentiary to a homeless shelter at 40 years old. I get a job selling air conditioners, but I got the right mindset, right? I'm still a 9th grade high school dropout. I'm still a 3-time convicted felon. I'm 40 years old. I've never had nothing in my life, but now I got the right mindset. That's what that book, The Power of Consistency, is all about. How to create that mindset. You know, a lot of times we look at people like Brad, we look at successful people, I'm like, wow, they have these great optimistic outlooks, right? They're always positive. You know, you're not just blessed or cursed, you know, to have or not have that mindset. You can create the mindset. And that's what I learned. Right, I remember one of the first books I read, Stephen Covey, who became a very close friend of mine, actually endorsed my first book, which was called The Upside of Fear and The Power of Consistency, before he passed away. But Dr. Covey wrote that you can live out of your imagination rather than your past, right? And my past was pretty bleak, but my imagination was big, right? So I get out of the penitentiary, I get a job, I do that for a year, I open a little heating and air conditioning company because I'd gotten a job selling air conditioners. And within 5 years, I grew it to $20 million in revenue. In 2009, that company was selected by Inc. magazine as one of the fastest growing small companies in America. That was the year I wrote my first book, The Upside of Fear. It was selected as Writer's Digest Best Independent Book of the Year, New York Book Festival Best Autobiography of the Year, and all of a sudden the phone calls for the speaking and the opportunities started coming in, and that changed everything. I am a product of a really bad mindset for 30 some odd years, and you know, the product of a really good mindset the last 20 years. The first 7 of those 20 in the penitentiary, right? But those 7 years, even though I was in the penitentiary, they were wonderful years. I grew spiritually, emotionally, you know, I learned who I was and what it took to be successful. 14 years ago, Brad, I'm living in a homeless shelter. And today my life is, it's hard to describe. It's all a product of the mindset.
Nothing can stop me. I'm all the way up.
Sounds like what you're saying is that you wanted it so bad, all of those problems became nothing.
They meant nothing to me. All I could see what was in front of me. When I saw a nice car, I said, I want that car. I don't care what it's going to take me. I don't care how long I have to go without sleep. I wanted that car. I wanted that house. I wanted to make sure my baby girl who's now 29 years old, I wanted to make sure that she never had to want for anything.
Listen, if you guys want a book to teach you some mindset and how to get what you're looking for, Dream to Grow Rich, where do they get this book?
They can go to greginspires.com to get their autographed copy. They can go to Barnes & Noble for the hard copy, or they go to Amazon.com to look for Dream to Grow Rich. How to dream, grind, and hustle your way to success. Because I believe you only need 3 things. You need a dream or a vision, a daily grind, get up and work when you don't want to, and then the hustle. What are you doing on Memorial Day? Are you eating hot dogs? Or are you planning your dreams? That's all you need, those 3 things.
Look, man, if this guy can do it, you can do it. Go get this book. His story, is your story in this book?
It's in there.
His story's in this book. This isn't even the half of it. I mean, I'm telling you right now, if that's all that happened to this dude, I wouldn't be so impressed. It times this by frickin' 10x, like 10x this. And you still probably went through the first 3 chapters. It's so unbelievable the odds this guy's overcome to achieve massive success. This book not only tells you about that story, but teaches you how to achieve that success by following the same principles he learned the hard way.
Nothing can stop me. I'm all the way up. All the way up. I'm all the way up. I'm all the way up.
I think the best social media platform is the one with the most power, and right now that's Facebook, because they just buy everybody up. So they have the most power than anybody else, and I would bet on them 100% that if something ever did come up that would be a threat to them, they'd buy it.
Yeah, I'd say Facebook, because you can go live like this and let millions of people see it. And if you wanted to, I could go out and boost this post for whatever amount of money. I could take it and target it as a Facebook ad and literally spend millions of dollars and get seen by the world. You can be famous if you have a phone, Facebook, and a little bit of authentic creativity.
Yep.
I mean, I could buy my way in to fame on Facebook. Ty Lopez.
But you can do it with creativity without a cent.
Well, yeah, but I mean, like, look at Ty Lopez. Matter of fact, someone tagged Ty Lopez so he sees this feed. See, all you have to do is tag Ty Lopez and he'll end up watching this, hopefully long enough to get to this point, because most people want to talk shit about Ty Lopez. Well, not most people. A lot of people love him, so I shouldn't say most people. But there's a lot of people that hate on him and talk crap about him because he paid his way. You know, he rented everything. Who cares? Guys, it takes a lot of money to rent those things, and they're not rented, because I know people that know him. You know, some of the things might be leased, but that's not the point. The point is the haters are saying, well, he paid his way. Well, guess what? That investment paid off, because now he's probably doing, you know, $3 to $5 million a month. And not only that, he's really looking to help people. I hate when people say, oh, they're just looking to make money. Look, Ty Lopez likes to make money to fuel that lifestyle, but I guarantee he's looking to help you, because he's telling you to read books, man. That's good advice. Read books, get knowledge, gain knowledge. So where was I going with that? I was going here. Ty Lopez paid his way to now where the whole world knows who he is. Now he's getting media endorsements. He's getting relationships. He's getting sponsorships. He's making money hand over fist. Lamborghinis. All the girls following him around. I mean, he paid his way into it, let's say. Maybe he did, maybe he didn't. I don't know him personally. But who gives a rat's ass?
The only way you get paid ever is by providing value. Anyway.
He has engagement. He gives away Apples and iPhones and cars and cash, and everybody wants to hate on him. Guys, if I could do what Ty Lopez does, I'd do it in 5 seconds. Apparently, he spends like millions of dollars on YouTube and Facebook to get that audience. Well, now he's got that audience. So again, social engagement. If all those were fake followers and he wasn't engaging, guess what? It's worthless.
Nothing can stop me. I'm all the way up. All the way up. I'm all the way up. I'm all the way up.
Happens to everybody. I had identity theft. There was some dude in Dallas, Texas that had my name, birth date, social security number, everything. He had an apartment, he had cell phones, he had cable, he had gas. They started calling me and asking me when I'm going to pay the bills, and I'm like, I don't live in Dallas. It was a nightmare. Not only that, but like, you know, he could have got credit cards and caused some real damage. So again, folks, it can happen to anybody. I mean, I've had collections on my. When I was a kid, I had bad credit because I got the first credit card I ever got was to the Bon Marché. You remember Bon Marché in Oregon?
My first one was Emporium.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the Bon Marché, and they gave me a $500 credit limit, and of course I'm thinking credit
That's
card.
free money.
Yeah, credit card means I can get $500 worth of clothes, and I was a little bit of a clothes meister back then. So I bought $500 worth of credit card, and they gave it to me without a job too. See, again, I mean, that was a little irresponsible of Bon Marché, but it was bigger irresponsibility on me. So I whacked up the credit card, never paid them, had that on my credit. And
For
then,
7 years.
Well, it was a long time, I can tell you that. And then, fortunately, I got a car loan along back when I was a kid, and I paid that, so it showed a car payment made. But that Bon Marché card haunted me, and it cost me higher interest rate on my car payment. I mean, it's just bad having credit. Not only are you a scumbag well, not literally, you might not be a scumbag, but you look like a scumbag. If people pull your credit, an employer pulls your credit, it looks like you don't have commitment, it looks like you don't honor your word, it looks like you don't do the right thing. And then if you're you know, having trouble financially and you can't pay your bills, is there any tricks to that? Like, can you call them and suspend, or is there any tricks to like, you know, I remember one time I had car payments and I called them because I didn't want to get bad credit, and and what they did is they added the payment on the end of my loan and just skipped it.
Yeah.
Nothing can stop me. I'm all the way up. All the way up. I'm all the way up. I'm all the way up.
Unbelievable. Now, see, you guys are complaining about your girlfriends cheating on you. You're talking about you can't, you know, your car's got a little bit of trouble. How about getting out of prison? What, did you say 3 times?
Yeah, third time at 40 years old, living in a homeless shelter.
And by the way, once you go to prison, you kind of become, or a lot of people become institutionalized to where when they get out, they really don't know how to function.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's throwing some extra, you know, adversity towards you, I would say.
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
So, would you say it's all based on how to create the right mindset?
Absolutely. You know, we become what we think about all day long. We attract that which we fear. And what I learned is that we create our lives through a very simple process. And, you know, the thought is the foundation of everything. When we have a thought, any thought, happy, bad, good, or sad, doesn't matter. When you have a thought, it's like a little bolt of lightning that goes across your brain. It goes to a part of your brain called the hypothalamus. And it doesn't matter what it's called, but that I read one time that's what they call it. And when it goes in the hypothalamus, that thought, that little bolt of energy, it causes the brain to secrete a chemical to trigger an emotion. And the emotion will always be consistent with the thought. So if I'm frightened by something, right, if somebody comes running at me with a knife in their hand, my brain's going to start producing epinephrine and adrenaline. I'm going to have a very frightened emotion. Then I'm going to take some action, right? I'm going to fight or I'm going to run, whatever. I'm going to take some action, which is going to produce some results. So this cycle of thought, emotion, action, result repeats itself a million times a day. If you have a very warm and loving thought, your brain's going to start producing dopamine and endorphins. You're going to have a very warm and loving emotion. So the emotions and the actions are always based on the thought. Chemically in our brain, you have a thought, it creates a chemical, triggers the emotion, which triggers the action. That's the cool part. The scary part is this. Your emotions and your actions are always based on your thoughts, even if the thought is wrong or inaccurate. In other words, you can believe something's not true. You can believe something that's absolutely false and produce very real emotions and actions and results. We call this a self-fulfilling prophecy, right? That's why our mothers always told us, be careful what we wish for. So that thought is so powerful, even if it's something false. As an example, you walk out of the theater, it's 11 o'clock at night, it's you and your spouse and you got your kids. You're walking across the parking lot, guy comes running at you, you know, with a knife in his hand, he's covered in blood, and he's coming at you and your family like he intends to do you some harm. Instantaneously, your brain starts producing the epinephrine, the adrenaline, right? Now you got this fearful emotional state, this heightened state of emotion, and the guy comes towards you, you got to take some action. You got to run or you got to fight. Well, you got kids with you, so you can't run, so you stay and fight. Guy comes at you, clock him in the jaw, drop him like a sack of potatoes. What's the result? You protected your family. So far, so good. Now the police come out, and when the guy regains consciousness, you learn that he was no threat to you whatsoever. It was a mistake. The knife was fake. The blood was fake. It was a teenage kid running across the parking lot to go to a Halloween party. The fact that the thought was wrong and inaccurate.
Now you just did your fourth stint in jail.
Exactly. You just beat up some kid, and the thought was false, but the emotions, the actions, and results were very real. This is how we produce realities for ourselves on false thought, limiting beliefs, what I call junk in the trunk, right? It's a self-fulfilling prophecy, so you have to be so careful. You can't just go through life thinking. You got to think about what you're going to think about before you think about it.
Nothing can stop me, I'm all the way up.